Hi everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Polderpark. Today I'm going to give you a little update on what I've been working on, and hopefully show you everything that's new in the park. Now, I'll warn you in advance, this might be a bit of a chaotic update, because I've been working on two areas at once, those being the main street that I showed you before, and the what's been called Ampere Alley by now, which was the electrical themed area that I kind of, well, I want to say teased, but it's not a tease. It kind of showed you in the last episode. So excuse me if I hop around a bit today. I did work on those two areas at the same time, so there is a bit to show on both of them. Now, since we're already here, might as well start with Main Street. One of the biggest things that's changed is that I've added this Ferris wheel at the back of Main Street. Also, I've added quite a big lake, which I'll get to in a bit. Reason for this Ferris wheel is, well, apart from the fact that I like having some sort of calm attraction in an area like this, it also, I mean, just let me quickly hop out of the entrance. It just makes a theme park view, you know. It's I mean, just this skyline, it just screams theme park to me. And with the entrance, if you step back a little bit more, I've got my sensitivity way down, but just this look of the, oh, that was a cool dolly zoom. Just this look of the Ferris wheel like looming over the entrance, I think it really completes the whole picture of the front facade. So I wanted to get that in there. At the start, it was just a test to see if I did like it. It's been there ever. Basically, the day after the last episode came out, I put it in and just kept it there. But I've grown accustomed to it now, and I really think it does complete the vibe of this whole area. So I'm gonna add some decorations to that in the future, theme it up, make it all nice and pretty. So we have a kind of central viewing point in the central, well, weenie in the first area of the park right here. Now, as for the rest of Main Street, I'll start to the right here because it's quite an interesting building. I've added this theater, or cinema, I should say, to Main Street. It's based off of an image I found online. It's kind of this, well, to me, it kind of screamed budget cinema, where this might have been a whole other building in the past, but they just added on this sign on the front, they added the posters on the outside, and they kind of retrofitted it to a cinema. I don't know, I think it kind of fits the whole vibe of this area. Now, one interesting thing I've done is this hallway. It looks like it's going really far into the cinema, like you're walking like maybe 10 meters into the cinema, and then there's a hallway there. While in reality, if I walk up to it, it's barely, I think, 3 meters deep. Now, I've done that by using the same posters I have on the outside, which, like all posters I've shown until now in the previous episode as well, they are temporary, even though I really like them, but I think they're actual properties, so I'm not sure. But I want to change these to kind of Easter eggs maybe, or Blanco stuff. I'll get creative with that. But I've used these posters back there, but just really made them a lot smaller. I think they're like 1/4 the size of the ones outside, which makes them look way further away than they are. And I've also kind of made the walls and the roof slope inward. You can see it slightly when you look at the horizontal lines on the wood, where the roof is higher on this side than it is there. And the walls also kind of creep inwards a bit. I think the doorway here is about 2 meters wide, and here it's about 1.5 meters, which altogether sells the vibe that this hallway is way longer than it really is. I wanted to kind of do something with that. I'll get to a bit more forced perspective in a lighter sense in a bit. It's also something that Disney often uses by, I think it's most Disney castles, where they, the higher up you go, the smaller the bricks get to make them look further away. So the castle looks way bigger than it is. And I wanted to try and incorporate something of that along that line in here as well. Now I've added this little ticket counter, which might be one of my favorite little details. Just this closed sign. I don't know why, but I really like this little detail. And with the Western theme returning, with the Western theme returning, got my th and t mixed up there. My favorite sign ever got back into the game. I'm not sure why, but just this simple metal sign has probably made it into all of my first Blanco parks. So yeah, it's good to have you back, buddy. Now, for now, this hallway is completely empty past this point. I did add this Monteleone, I think it's called, ride in here. Basically because it's the smallest flat ride there is, in the sense that it doesn't go up. I wanted to add some sort of attraction into this building, have a show building behind it, make it some kind of movie-themed attraction, maybe even kind of inspired by, I think it was Tomb Raider at Universal? I'm not sure. I will Google and I'll put it on screen, but there used to be this Huss giant topspin which was completely encased and kind of left people wondering what they were getting onto. I wanted to get that vibe in here as well. But yeah, this is the only flat ride that fits up until now. So this is all very much work in progress, but the facade is basically done, apart from the posters and of course this placeholder text, which then is going to house the name of the attraction inside. And I also need to find out a name for the cinema as well, because right now it's nothing. But I want to add something on there. So if you do have suggestions for this, let them know in the comments below. I'm not particularly looking to theme it to something, so something cool themed to movies or something like that would be pretty cool. Now, on the other side, this was already there, but I have added the Just a Memento shop here on the corner. I wanted to try and stay away from the bricks for this building, because we do already have a lot of bricks in here. However, with the decals, they just look too good, and I added in bricks again, I'm sorry. But at least this looks like at some point they decided to plaster over the bricks and it's just fallen off over time. I also added this little backstage area. I'm not sure what this is meant to be, but it's just some metal thing connecting the two buildings, and it hides the sight lines coming between these buildings. And it's also home to a little staff bath. Please head in there right now so I can show. Yeah, you can see people heading in here. This leads to a little backstage area where I've added a mechanic workshop, the back of the shop and the staff room over there. But yeah, getting back to this building, I've used a few windows by... I've forgotten their name. I'll put it on screen right now, because they have made a complete set of windows which kind of differ from the ones already in game. And it really helps differentiate the buildings from the other ones, because at the moment we don't have a lot of different window pieces in the game. At least not the like facade windows. Of course, with the glass panes you can make any window you want, but just windows you can stick on the buildings which aren't real and aren't meant to be real. We don't have a lot of those at the moment. Same goes for these bay windows down here. I really wanted to make this look a bit different to the rest of the buildings, and I think those windows really help with that. And next to this, there is a place I can't show you because I haven't added any path here, but I'll need to zoom out. This is a building that's meant to kind of tie into the next area, which I'll get to in a bit, with the color scheme of the brick and the kind of teal greenish on the bottom. I've made it into a soda shop, but I'm thinking I might want to do something else with this. For now, though, this is what it is. These are, of course, going to house something different. I'm looking into making a few menu screens, for example, for stuff like this. And on the top, I've kept it kind of plain and simple, just to kind of end this Main Street area for now. Of course, this is going to need some more work on this corner. But yeah, it does kind of close off the Main Street area. I was thinking of calling this Polder Plaza. Again, the alliteration for Polderpark is really... I'm trying to make that into everything, or get that into everything. So Polder Plaza kind of sounds like a fun area. I've got King Coaster running about here in the middle right now. This little plaza just screams like it needs something in the middle. At the start of this park, before I even recorded the first video, I tried something with a fountain, but it didn't really work out. Maybe I'll just need to tone it down a bit, give it a smaller fountain, and maybe that'll work out. But yeah, it needs some sort of a centerpiece in here. One of the comments that Jan BK made was that I had my French wrong. Here on the entrance in front of you, it said welcome, welcome, willkommen, and I don't speak French, I'm sorry, accueillir? I'm not sure. And that the correct French word was bienvenue, which I assumed it was, but for some reason my translator, I say translator, it was Google Translate, gave me the other word and I was doubting myself. So I added that onto there, but he corrected me and I've changed it since then. Thank you for that. The coaster is really good, perfect for younger ones and as a warm-up for thrill seekers, both young and old. Yeah, thank you. That was kind of the goal as well for this coaster. It was meant to be slightly thrilling, but not like a hyper coaster or something like that. Also because I don't think the park like this would have the budget for that. Again, the coaster is a Vekoma one, and it's mostly low to the ground, which I imagine would be cheaper than having something really big with structures and stuff like that in there. So yeah, that was my goal. Fat Pigeon also said, I think a lot of people are in the same boat of not wanting to play this game. With that said, the next two updates look like they're going to turn the game around. Yeah, I think they are. It's good to see that Frontier is still supporting a game, even though the launch hasn't been absolutely perfect. But hey, it's nice to see that they're still supporting the game and that they are pushing updates as well. And that they aren't, which was a really tone-deaf move at the start, releasing DLC first. I think they've now got the roadmap of kind of building the game up to a point where everyone's happy with it, and then they can start releasing DLC with like genuine additions, genuine new rides and new scenery themes and stuff like that. Now, getting back to the park, I teased it a bit around this corner. This has been renamed to Ampere Alley, and before I go in here, as you can see by these giant metal cubes floating about, this is mostly work in progress and mostly just a sketch right now of what it's going to be. But what I have gotten a bit more work done on is the electric coaster. It's now housed in the Grimsby Electric Company building. It's themed to this old power plant, specifically an old coal plant I found online, which has been retrofitted over time to house some new fancy machine, which I'll get to in a slight bit. It is still the Vekoma rotating coaster. I redid a bit of the shaping and rotation on this track, so I'll give you an on-ride again at the end of this episode, so you can compare it to last episode's on-ride. It's not changed dramatically, just a few minor changes just to make it a bit more smooth. Now to start out, I added these cooling springs here. You can see these kind of cooling elements here in the water, which the coaster goes over, and with the rotation you get a real nice look at that. This is kind of the, well, like I said, cooling springs, so these are meant to keep all the machines cool by providing some cool water to all the machines in here. Now, continuing on, this is the rest of the building. Now, I'm not entirely sold on the shape yet, but there is also not a lot that I can change. Of course, I could expand it a lot, but I don't want to make this too big either, because I feel like this is already way more theming than a park this size would probably do. I'm assuming this was probably their, like, most recent edition, and they've just pumped a bit of money into this. For the rest of the park, especially for stuff like the Vekoma Boomerang, I'm not going to give it as much of a budget as this coaster has. It's just not realistic for a park to have that kind of stuff everywhere, especially not if it's, like I said in the first episode, meant to be a sort of approachable park along the lines of Movie Park Germany. Now, I've named this ride Surge Riders, and this was a bit of a journey to get here. I was doubting between few names. One would be Ampere, because it is slightly inspired by Voltron, as you can see with this screen here. For those of you that haven't been to Voltron, this is one of the main parts of the queue. So I wanted to name it Ampere as a kind of, well, almost as a sister to Voltron, but then the name Ampere Alley came into being, and I thought it would be weird if I had Ampere Alley and then also a coaster called Ampera. for some reason it didn't feel right. So I named it Surge Riders. And the story of this coaster is that this is an old coal power plant, which has been abandoned for years, hence the planks on the windows and the overgrown sides. And it has been bought by someone named Ignatius Watson, who was a rich entrepreneur and inventor, looking for a way to create clean power without any power loss. Now, to do that, he found that he needed some living energy to be able to create or generate that power. Hence the people lining up here to go into the instruction room, or instructieruimte in Dutch, where they will get briefed, because they are the recruits that are testing this new machine. Now, it should be safe, this machine that he built, but this is the first time it's going up to full power, so he's not sure what that will do to people once they enter. This machine is called the Surge Engine, not Search Engine. I realized that when I had to pronounce it a few times, that's oddly similar. But it has this feature where it's an acronym as well. For some reason, I find this really funny. There are a few acronyms that don't make sense. For example, PIN number, which is a personal identification number. And I wanted to do the same with this. So Search Engine, Surge stands for Stabilized Unbound Reactive Grid Engine. And for some reason, they decided to add engine to it. So, yeah, Surge Engine is the name of the machine that you're boarding. Now, I'm already teasing a lot. This is the outside queue area. Let me get back to what I was doing. This is the outside queue area where you do have this nice view of this window. This video on here is slightly temporary. I wanted to try if I like this. And I also wanted to try and sync it up to the ride, but I haven't figured out how to do that yet. If I'm just dumb, let me know, but it seems to only want to activate the screen and not play it at a certain time. It's I need to figure that out anymore. But yeah, the outside is kind of themed to this power courtyard. I haven't added much in between the queue yet. Also, I haven't added any foliage to these areas yet. But it is meant to kind of hype up this area. On the top here, you get a nice view of the two chimneys, which are triggered by the coaster. The second those well, light up, I'd say, or emit smoke, it means the coaster car is coming out of the launch tunnel in a bit. I was really hoping that while I was saying this, a coaster would pass by, but there we go. There you go. That's a nice little interactive piece. I've also added these kind of, I want to say, transformer towers on the top, where one of them has fallen off. I wanted to create a bit more power feeling, or like electricity feeling in here, because with all the pipes, which are really easy to add all around and make it look almost steampunky, it was kind of looking more like a water filter treatment plant or something. So I wanted to create a bit more electricity feeling. I created these cables from cylinders. I can show you, I think I have them lying over there somewhere. I created this entire set of different electrical cables, because the ones that we had in the original game, they aren't in this game anymore. Yeah, there you can see them lying on the ground. Just this entire set of a few different kinds of hanging cable, and I threw those. Oh, I just threw those all around this building. The same for this on the top. It's just thrown around. One of them has broken off, and the cable is lying over the air conditioning unit. It's kind of this old decrepit feeling that I'm trying to sell here. Now, then actually going into the building, I'm sorry for that, I don't think my PC likes me anymore. We get into what's the briefing area for this coaster. Right here is a little video, which I will play in full at the end of this game, or of this episode, so you can have a good look at it. Kind of instructing guests how to board the coaster and what to watch out for, and kind of explaining safety instructions. It also has a chalkboard, which I'm really proud of, even though it's this really simple thing, but this just adds a bit of ambience to this whole room. I'm not sure what's happening there with the whole glitchy thing, but okay. Explaining what the surge is. On this corner I have a little decoration as well, with these hatches and a little table with a clipboard on it. And after this you will head into the surge engine itself. This little corridor up goes the corridor to the factory floor, where you will board the coaster itself. Now, it's also explained in the little video, but they have an assigned row here. People will just go into their assigned row, and the empty carts will come out of this ominous tunnel, which isn't really explained. It has sparks in it, and it's closed off, and it's danger high voltage in Dutch, but it's not explained any further, so just empty carts coming out of there is kind of ominous. But yeah, other than that, it also has the cables thrown around, kind of selling the fact that you're getting into this big power company or power machine. And the second it leaves, it has a little slight light show which plays, kind of signaling the fact that you're leaving the station and going on a big adventure. Now, I'll just give you a ride real quick. I think I can click here for that. I apparently cannot. There we go. Gives you a little chance to compare the first ride to the second one. I really wanted to sell this story, so in a bit you'll get into what I call the well house. Now this needs an interior still, so don't worry, this will get themed to something else, but I did incorporate someone's idea of charging up the carts. I think it was Messy Micah, with this sort of Voltron-inspired tunnel, launching the carts into the stratosphere, and then they go on their merry way. Yeah, it was Messy Micah saying, I remember in Disneyland Paris in Thunder Mountain, you go up via a lift chain thing, and beside you are these cables and wires and such that release sparks and electric buzzing sounds. Maybe you can do something like that for the electric coaster, making it look like it's powering up before launching the carts away. So yeah, I was kind of figuring out how to do that, and I realized that the classic Disney way of just slapping a tunnel on it was kind of the best option. So yeah, as well with these, this ride, it has a separate boarding or loading and unloading station. The operations on this are crazy. It's basically as efficient as it can get, especially with such a small coaster like this. I think that's really needed, because otherwise you're waiting way too long for a way too short ride. Now this area isn't finished yet. As you can see, this is kind of a dangerous area right now, but it does provide you with a little bit of a look on the tunnel and the lift hill, or the launch hill. It gives a nice little lake down here, some space, and it makes you gives you one of the best sights, I think, of the rest of the track, apart from the one from the parking lot. So yeah, this all still needs some theming. I need to make it look more weathered and finish it off a bit more, add these fences, and of course add the interior for this building as well. But yeah, that's Surge Riders up until now. I think this is a great little family coaster, which again, with the rotation, it does provide more of a thrill than you'd think for such a small little ride. Now, across from that, it's not as themed yet, but I did want to show you what I have in the pipeline for the next episode. I added this Wild Blue. I guess this would be one of Dr. Watson's other inventions, or like a flight training simulator or something like that. The biggest reason I wanted to add this is because I love these things in real life. I know a lot of enthusiasts have an opinion about this, but once you figure out how these work, you can get such a crazy ride on these. There's one in Toverland in the Netherlands, which Evershore was based on. I made it up to 38 flips on that thing, which is insane. And once you get the hang of it, it's crazy. You're feeling like you're getting thrown out of your seat. It's awful, but it's amazing. So yeah, I really wanted to add one of those to this park as well. Again, it needs theming, but it is already there just to kind of give a feeling of what this area is going to be like. Now, while this street does kind of end here, I want to create some sort of a tunnel that's been closed off as like a little end to this area. Maybe I'll add some stands or some benches here, so it does have something worth walking up to, or maybe this will be the exit for this ride. I'm not sure yet, but I wanted to create some kind of tunnel that's been closed off, as if the street used to go on there, but it's just been closed off now and you can't go any further. And I also wanted to keep a lot of green in this area as well, even though it is the decrepit old factory. I think it might be a European thing, but a lot of parks here in the Netherlands and in Germany as well, they are really green. They have a lot of nature incorporated in them and surrounding them. So I wanted to create that here as well, with just planters everywhere, keeping everything green, and especially with the fact that this is overgrown I guess it kind of fits in. Now, quickly before I leave you, I wanted to hop into air view, so you can see a little layout of what the park is right now. It hasn't changed a lot. This is new though, the lake. This shape is very much not final, but it did provide me with a bit of an idea of, well, the classical park surrounding a lake idea that a lot of European parks have, actually. I think Bobbejaanland is one of them, Wallaby to some degree, but those are more like little creeks. But a lot of parks have this lake in the center, which they are surrounded by, and I wanted to incorporate that here as well. So what's going to happen is this area that I've laid out here, I want to try and make this sort of into a boardwalk area, maybe even a little bit inspired by Wallaby's Dock World, but that might be too industrial since we already have that here as well. But the classic boardwalk, maybe have some midway games here as well, have some piers and stuff heading into the water. Stuff like that here, but mostly this park is, or this path is here to get the guests away from the plaza and moving on to the rest of the park. There is going to be some sort of a walking path surrounding this entire lake to some degree. So for example, this would be the route this way, and this will lead into the next area, which is probably going to go here, sort of. And the same will go on in this area. So this would be the boardwalk area, this will be some other area, and then this will be another part where you can walk up to. So now that I'm genuinely rambling on and have nothing more interesting to say, I wanted to thank you for watching. I'll leave you with some glamour shots. I'll try to create some nice cinematic shots at the end, and I'll see you in the next episode, hopefully. Thank you to everyone who has joined me. Please leave all your thoughts in the comments below. I'm always glad to hear them, whether they be good or bad. And provide your suggestions for the park as well. Be it names, be it attractions, be it other ideas. I'm always glad to hear them. So let me know, and I will see you in the next episode.